Listen, Cal, my partner, was so mad that he had completely shut down. I'm talking turned away, curled up in bed, totally unresponsive to me. And I was freaking mad too. But this time I did something different than I'd ever done before. And it actually worked to break him out of the shell, soften that anger, and get us back into connection. And that is what I want to talk about today. You want to get through your partner's anger, right? If you want to do that effectively, you've got to understand what it's really about. That's today's conversation. Welcome to another Catalyst conversation for a relationship revolution, where we challenge the unquestioned assumptions about love, flip the script on what you've been taught, or not even taught, just assumed, right? And reveal the truths that no one has told you. This month, and maybe beyond this month even, who knows? We'll see what I decide to do. We're going to dive into what I like to call liberating assumptions. Liberating as in breaking free from chains of oppression and stuckness, and assumptions as in that which we understand to be true. So in this series, I'm dropping truth bombs that are going to help set you free from the lies, the misconceptions, and the untrue beliefs that are holding you back and keeping you stuck in your relationships. And today, we're starting with a liberating assumption about anger. Because what I have found is that most of us, especially as women, tend to be quite uncomfortable when our partners get angry. I mean, hell, we get uncomfortable when we are angry, right? We don't know what to do with it or how to express it, certainly not how to make it go away. And what's worse is that the ways that we try to make it go away or deal with anger by getting upset about our partner's angry response or trying to explain or defend ourselves, by sharing how hurt we are that we're being responded to with such anger and animosity, or even by trying to set a hell no, you can't talk to me like that kind of boundary, they not only don't work, but they actually make even more anger show up. They create even more disconnection and disharmony in our relationship. The opposite of what we're looking for, you know? But I want to share with you today a very simple assumption, a single belief that if you assume is true, and I have come to find, and honestly, very, very, very deeply believe is true, that when you understand and understand and know this truth, it's going to shift how you relate to anger, and it's going to empower you in your response to how you manage it, right? How you respond to anger in your partner, in your children, in your clients, and even within yourself, my love, so that you can deal with anger more powerfully, more effectively, and with a hell of a lot more ease. If something in this conversation, I'm going to say this before I move any further, right? Okay. If something in this conversation moves you and you know that you want to go deeper into the transformation, then I want to invite you into the Relationship Revolution membership. This is a $147 monthly program, right? So monthly membership, you can cancel anytime. That gives you the structure, the tools, and the support that you need to take this learning that we do here and transform it into lasting change. I'll share more about it at the end of this catalyst conversation, but I want to give you a little like seed planted here. Sound good? Okay. So before we get into it too, I'm going to take a minute to introduce myself for those of you who may not have tuned into a catalyst conversation before. My name is Dr. Jenny Wallig. I am an award-winning relationship expert. I'm a mentor, a speaker, and an author, and an educator. I am also a disruptor, okay? I am determined to challenge shit that's not working and change the world, make it a better place through more conscious and evolved relationships, because Lord knows we fucking need it. I work with women entrepreneurs primarily who desire to have legendary marriages, the kind that fills their souls, lifts them higher, and supports all of their big, bold dreams. And they desire to have those kinds of relationships, even if their spouses are not doing the work with them at first. And yes, if their spouse is wanting to do the work with them, I work with them too. In fact, then I get to bring my partner, soulmate, and co-founder of our business, Powerful Love Relationships, Calvin, into the work. So we're working together as a couple with the couple. Pretty powerful stuff. So in these catalyst conversations and in everything that we do in Powerful Love, the goal, the mission isn't just to teach people how to do relationships better, right? Our mission is to redefine and unlock what is possible through our relationships and through love, and to empower you, fellow visionary, to have the relationships that you desire and deserve without having to wait on anyone else before you get it. Ready? Let's get into today's conversation. So we're talking about anger, right? And here, I'm getting straight into these liberating assumptions, y'all. Here's the assumption that I want you to understand, right? Assumption, like we're assuming this to be true. This is a truth. Anger is a request for unconditional love. Let that sit with you for a second. Anger is a request for unconditional love. Now I'm going to break that down. So stay with me, okay? You might be having some reactions, some resistance. It's okay. Notice it. These conversations are supposed to challenge you. If they are, I'm doing my job. But bear with me and stay in. Okay? So anger shows up in response to hurt and fear as a secondary emotion. Okay, so hurt and fear are very vulnerable emotions. And when we are feeling hurt or afraid, oftentimes anger shows up to protect us from feeling the hurt and fear, and to express the outrage at being hurt or feeling afraid. But anger in its pure and raw form is a response to very legitimate injustices, right? There are many occasions in this world where anger is the primary emotion, and it is very righteous because there have been genuine injustices done, and you have every right to be fucking angry, right? Outraged. But what's the response? What's the ask? Corrective behavior? Isn't that correct? Isn't that unconditional love? Care and concern? Isn't that unconditional love? Support and understanding? Isn't that unconditional love? When your partner is angry with you, how does it change things if you see that expression as anger, as a request for you to love them? What changes if you assume that that anger means that some part of them is feeling unsafe or unloved or unseen? That some part of them is feeling hurt, or like they have been unjustly treated. When we meet anger with our own judgment or defensiveness or even our own pain, we create collision instead of connection. We create more harm, more disconnection instead of healing, which is what that anger invites: healing, reconnection. And I know it's scary because anger is like someone put their fucking spikes out, and I'm telling you, you got to go hug that person. You know what? Like, are you nuts, Jenny? You want me to go hug the person with their spikes out? That does not feel safe. Yeah. No, it doesn't. In your nervous system, when someone else is angry, says, stay away from that person because their spikes are out and they're going to hurt you, which is why we get defensive. We withdraw and shut down, or we get angry and say, put your fucking spikes away. But that doesn't work. The way to get someone to put their spikes away is actually to approach them and maybe not just hug them with their spikes out, but, put your arms out and say, would you like a hug? Can I hug you? I mean, think about it for a moment. What do you need when you're angry? What kind of response do you desire, let's say from your partner, okay? What kind of response do you desire from your partner when you're really freaking mad at them? You want them to care, right? To feel remorse, to get it, to be like, oh shit, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I hurt you, or I'm so sorry that you felt that way, or oh my God, I didn't realize that it was going to have that impact, and let me correct my behavior, or wow, I didn't realize that that was so scary for you, for me to have done that thing, or to have made that investment or that choice, or whatever it is, right? We want them to give a shit, to care, to love us, to help us feel safer in our bodies and in the relationship. That is love, my friend. That's what we desire. Doesn't it make sense that it may be what they desire too, what our kids desire, what the inner children of our own minds desire when we are angry? Can we give that love to ourselves? There's so much power and healing in that. For my part, I have found myself saying, like, I just want you to care about me, like yelling that in my anger. Like, why can't you just care about me? And then getting the response, I do care about you. But like the fact of caring is not the act of caring. It's the expression of love. Saying, I care about you is different than approaching someone with their spikes out and saying, oh my God, I can see how hurt you are. Oh my God, that must be so scary. Would you like a hug? Can I sit by you? I could see why you would feel that way. Sure didn't mean it that way. You gotta set your own shit aside. You gotta set your own shit aside. If you want those spikes to go away fast and come into reconnection, that's the way to do it. Anger is a request for unconditional love. Let me tell you, the story that I started with, that moment when Cal was so mad that he couldn't respond to me, you know what I did? I curled up next to him and I started rubbing his back. And I will never forget this, y'all. He said, what is happening? He was so confused. He didn't trust it. He's like, what the hell? What are you even doing right now? What is this? And I'm like, I'm trying to love you. I was so mad. I had to quiet all those mad parts in me because it was not going to help me to share my mad right now. He was too mad to hear him. And if I wanted him to hear my mad, I had to help him get to a place where he could hear my mad parts. I had to help him get there. And so I gave him love. I held him. I had learned this liberating assumption years before, but I got it, really got it in that moment. To be clear, you don't have to just take it if your partner is being violent or abusive in the expression of their anger or rage, right? You don't have to not set boundaries. You can absolutely and must absolutely, because that too is the loving thing to do, set those boundaries around how you deserve to be treated. And when you see the pain underneath the anger, you can meet that pain, that fear, that injustice with your power and sovereign, conscious, chosen responsiveness instead of your reactivity. And when you know how to do that and know how to do that well, then you can lead your relationship through the anger. You can start creating space for healing and growth in those moments. For softness and reconnection, you build safety, safety, safety. And you know what happens when you build safety through anger again and again and again? Anger starts showing up a hell of a lot less. Anger loses its grip in the relationship, on your partner, on you. And then everything is so much easier. Now, if you are already inside the Relationship Revolution program, I'm going to be giving you some bonus um, tips on what this can actually look like. How do you actually do this? If we're understanding that anger is a request for unconditional love, how do we express that love? How, I shared a couple things here. How do we approach our partner when they're angry? How do we respond to our inner parts when we're angry? What do you actually do? Well, yes, we have that assumption, but what does that look like in practice? So I'm going to share some of that with you. And then, of course, I'm going to give you your activation so that you can put it into practice. And I'll be there to support you along the way if you have any questions or feedback about what it feels like, how it goes as you apply this and practice it in your relationship. Because what I know is that learning here does not create transformation. Our true transformation happens when the learning gets embodied and lived in our relationship. And each of our relationships is a little bit unique. We're all very similar, but also a little unique. And so as we apply it, we need to figure out how this looks for our dynamic, for our nervous systems, for our DNA. If you are not yet in the relationship revolution, then I would love to invite you in, dear one. This is a powerful container for powerful women and their partners when their partners want to join. We meet once a month as a group for a live Q&A and hot seat coaching to deepen your learning. But the real power and transformation, I think, is the work that these incredible members are doing every week in response to these activations. So you're getting tools, you're getting support, you're getting accountability, and you're getting practices every week that you're applying, and with opportunities for feedback on how to keep applying it better, clarifying what you're doing, and intentionally taking steps to evolve and grow your relationship in just little easy to manage bite-sized ways, day by day, week by week, so that it never stops growing and improving. It is beautiful and powerful and revolutionary work. It is a devotion of love and commitment to growth and expansion, which is what our relationships can do. I would love to see you in the community. It's $147 a month. I will put the link in the description of this live stream, of this recording, if you're watching the recording. That is it for today's Catalyst conversation. I hope that you will join me for episode 2 of our Liberating Assumptions series. I'm not sure what it's going to be on, but these are all really good. I have a lot of liberating assumptions that I can pull from. But every Catalyst conversation is on a Friday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. I will see you then. Until next time, keep leading with love, my friend.